It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show.
Welcome to the best show you'll ever know, the Dep Lewis Show, episode 90. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, August 18th, 2024. A great day for a podcast about video games and more, and that's what we're here to do. So welcome to the show out there. Hope you're doing great out there in the world. Hope it's been a great week for you as always, and just thank you for being here today. So the first order of business I'd like to get down to on this show is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. That would just really help me out. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available. If you'd like to subscribe monthly and get some additional benefits, and then also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you'd like to support the show. So just thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this little business talk here at the beginning to promote this Dep Lewis Show. So for today's show, as always, we're going to have our three sections. The first section will be what video games I've been playing since I last talked to you on this microphone. It is the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, and I have two RPGs to talk about, and then another game, a sports game. In the midsection of the show is where I tell you all the happenings in the video game world. So all like news and releases, and this week we have some news. We have some release date announcements. We have some upcoming releases. We have a video game movie to talk about too. So that is the midsection of the show this week. And the final section will be the miscellaneous talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside of the video game world. So that usually includes sports, and today will be no exception to that rule. We're going to get into the worldwide world of sports in the final section of this show and tell you about what's going on with all my favorite teams. So that is the plan of action for today. That's what we're getting into, and that is what we're going to start with right now. So let's get into it. Video game talk. So this is a weekly check-in show for the video game world. Have a weekly check-in on what I've been playing and then what I'm seeing across the video game landscape. So that is the main crux of this show. So what have I been playing? It's the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show. It's a whole year of myself focusing on the genre of RPGs and trying to play more of them and actually complete some. The big feather in my cap is I completed Final Fantasy VII Remake, and now I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So I did make some progress last week in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm exploring the whole Grasslands area, which I was doing on foot, and I should have been following the story prompts a little more. That would be kind of some advice in this section would be to follow the story until you actually see the game open up. So I was trying to do some of the open area stuff before actually getting the prompt to do so, and I was walking around the map and finding places because it was fun to do so, but then I was coming upon these buildings or outposts or whatever they may be, and there's just really nothing happening. You can just walk around them, and it was a little unusual that they were there, and it looked like something would go down there, but nothing was actually triggering. So I went back and I started doing some more of the main mission and helping out, I had to go capture Billy's wild chocobo, and I actually captured the chocobo, brought him back, and was able to get a chocobo of my own to walk around the grasslands with. So that was pretty cool, and it really does expedite the way you move around the map. So I was exploring the whole map on foot and not able to trigger the cutscenes, and then I got my chocobo and I'm moving at light speed and I'm able to trigger the cutscenes in the world. So I would just say for this section, just to trust the game a little bit more, and it's really you will 100% know when the game kind of opens up, and that's the point I'm at in this game and in this section, and I guess that's going to be a theme of this game in the different areas you go to. But so I am in the area of the grasslands. I have now got my chocobo. I can walk around really fast. I said I can't believe it's so fast to go around with a chocobo, and I'm doing some of the open world stuff. So it has a little bit of like Zelda or just kind of Assassin's Creed, where you need to go find these towers. It's going to open up areas in the map, and it's going to give you experience and things like that, and other things are going down at these areas. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of backtracking and go to these areas, but it'll be quick business since I have my chocobo. But I think it's a pretty cool thing. I think this whole section in this game is standing out a whole lot from Remake, from the first one in this trilogy. It's only a duo at this point, but it's going to be a trilogy. But I think that's really standing out in the beginning of this game is the open area, and we're outside in the world. We're outside, not in like a reactor or something like that. So it's a lot of really good stuff to look at, and you're rolling around with your crew, and it's just really, really fun. So hold on one second. So having some fun with the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's definitely one of the better games I've played from 2024. And what else? So I'm doing so Chadley comes through and he's the one giving me the missions to go out there and go find the research towers. And Calm is open up again. So we had to flee Calm because Shinra was on our case. They had helicopters searching the city and people on foot searching the city. So we had to make a escape for it, and that's how we got into the grasslands. And if you try to go back to Calm before getting the Chocobo and having the world open up, it would tell you, hey, this is a little too hot around here. You need to, keep it moving for now. But they're saying, hey, we think these things have calmed down in Calm, so you can go back to Calm now. So that is on my list to do as well. So I really don't have anything bad to say about this game. It's been extremely fun. I think it's been improving on Final Fantasy VII Remake a whole lot. I love the combat, I love the music, I love the characters, and I love the open world-ish sections. Right? Open world-ish, I want to say, sections. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, really great game, RPG, and I am loving it. So something else I played this week that I have played before. I think I have about 25 hours in this game on a prior character, but I've started a new character as I like to do, and I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 again. So I bought this game when it came out, or maybe a couple months after it came out because of all the hype. Tried it out, really liked it. Maybe I'm a little bit too overwhelmed by all the choices and things you can do, so I've decided to restart. I am playing a Dep Lewis character. I'm trying to make a character sort of like myself, so I made him a bard, since that's the most entertainer, podcaster thing I could think of. And I can't really classify myself as a warrior or some great medic or many other categories in the game, so I have a bard going, and that is my plan, to try to make it through this game and kind of play it as true to how I think I would act. Play it true to as how I would act in the real world. So a little bit of role playing, you might say. So in this game, early on, you're meeting your few intro characters. Shadowheart, I'm a huge fan of her, so I'm trying to make sure my relationship with Shadowheart is strong, so we can roll through this world and figure out what's going on with these parasites in our head. And Asterion is one that really, really grumps and grinds my gears when he comes out and does some knife work on you and tries to intimidate you. And I get his motives, that he's scared and he thinks we're the opposition, but he shouldn't really have a knife to my throat, Asterion. So I told him to kick rocks. I didn't tell him to go back to my camp, and I didn't tell him to join us. I just said, hey, we're trying to find a healer. You should probably find one too. We exchanged some information and kept it moving. So that's how I'm dealing with Asterion at this point. And then we met Gale, and Gale's all on the up and up so far. So rolling with Gale, and I'm rolling with Shadowheart right now. So I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, so I'm just trying to have an extreme focus on RPGs throughout the year to really test my RPG metal, to see what I like and dislike about them and what I like about the genre as a whole. And Baldur's Gate 3 is just an excellent game. It really is. And I'm just going to hopefully just try to slow play it and take in the world and role play a little bit in it and just have some fun and make some progress here and there. But I really like the complete open world nature of it. Is pretty cool. So I think that's kind of a fun thing to play in opposition to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is doing some open world things, but is more so on a story kind of driven path than more kind of story linear path than Baldur's Gate 3. But Baldur's Gate 3 has a big story going on, but maybe just not as. I definitely am a little bit scared of not scared of it. The combat in Baldur's Gate 3 is something I'm going to have to just grow to love, I guess. I do like it. I don't know if I don't have huge experience with tactical games besides Fire Emblem, so just going to be dipping my toe into the Baldur's Gate 3 waters and here to tell you about it. So those are actually the two RPGs I've been playing in the last week. I would say last week was a pretty medium video game week playing for me. I played some games, made some progress, but nothing too insane. But something that did take up some of my time is a sports game titled Madden, and it's not the new version of Madden. So Madden 2025 just came out last week. You can buy the standard edition right now. Excuse me once again. You can buy the standard edition, so the full-fledged release is out. Some people were playing early access, so you've bought the deluxe edition, but I decided to jump back into Madden from last year since I already own it. I wanted to make a character and get drafted and join a team and go that route, which I haven't really done in years past. I usually just kind of like Madden for the franchise mode and playing with the Panthers and just creating a team or doing a fantasy draft. But I wanted to create a player since I watched Nextlander play some Madden 2025 and they were having fun with it. So I figured I would go do the same thing in last year's game. And there's a lot of similarities, so I'm not really feeling too bad. I'm not having too much FOMO about missing out, especially playing this mode where I'm really just focusing on a created character. It doesn't really matter to me that Russell Wilson's still the quarterback for the Broncos or there's a few other things like that. You see players that aren't on the correct teams. You don't have the rookies in the league yet, but I'm really just focusing on my guy. I named him Calden Storms after Calden from Brandon Sanderson Cosmere. So Calden Storms is a middle linebacker. He's out there just wrecking things, and I had my first forced fumble in a game this morning, and been getting a few more tackles and figuring things out. But it's been really fun, and it's really fun just to play your character. It's fun to have to put the skill points in, so it's a little bit RPG-like in that way. So it's adding to the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So I've been playing some Madden 2024. Nothing too crazy to talk about there. Let's see. I wrote I'm a little bit interested in college football still too. I've kind of been hearing the new Madden isn't really living up to the hype. I know you get the updated rosters. I'm sure some things are a little bit better, but I've heard the physics are a little bit wonky, and I think I saw some of that in the Nextlander stream. So I'm sure they'll be patching this game a little bit, but just not looking like a crazy reason to upgrade unless you just want the brand new rosters. I think that's been the case for Madden for a long time. So my approach with these sports games, I think, is just going to be to play, especially around release time. If I want to play, I'll just play last year's release and then wait till the most recent version goes on sale, because they do go on sale fairly quickly, and then you can end up getting these games for like $10 at some point if you just wait a couple months. So might be the best way to proceed, especially if I'm not a crazy Madden player, but I've been into it in the last week. I played a lot of it. I think I'm 10 or 11 games into the first season, and I got drafted to the Buffalo Bills, so I'm playing middle linebacker for them. We've been one of the top ranked defenses. We had a few skunks. We blanked some people. We had some close games. We just had a close one with the Broncos, but we came through in the end. We had two safeties, had some sacks, doing some really great things out there, and it's been a whole lot of fun. So definitely been having some fun with the Madden. Last year's Madden, I can't really speak on this year's too much, but last year's Madden is still doing great, and it's having fun for the creative player. So we'll see if I continue to play that. It's a good podcasting game, which is nice to have in your rotation, and it's Madden. I love some football. I'm getting hyped for the season starting, and just a great time to play some Madden, even if it's last year's game. So that's been the crux of what I've been playing in the last week. I've been playing some Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I've been playing some Baldur's Gate 3, and I've been playing Madden from last year, so Madden 2024. And this is the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show. Just want to highlight that. I'm into Final Fantasy VII. Rebirth is my main game going in my rotation right now. And the main game I'm looking forward to coming out is Astrobot on September 6, 2024. So only a couple weeks away from Astrobot. I'm going to have to wait on GameStop to ship my copy to me, and then I'm going to be playing that whenever I get it, because that is a day one play for me, and I am super excited about Astrobot. I think that's my most anticipated game right now with the release date, and we're going to go into some more upcoming release dates in the midsection of the show, which we're going to get to in just a bit. So let's wrap up this first section, the intro and what I've been playing section of the show. So I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Baldur's Gate 3, and Madden 2024, and this week it's the year of the RPG on the Dep Lewis Show, and I'll be back next week, as I always am, to tell you about what I've been playing. And as always, you can't really be too sure of what I'm playing, because I like to jump around, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has been the top dog in my rotation. So we're going to take a quick break. You're going to hear some lovely break music, and we're going to come back for the midsection of the show, where I tell you about all the things going on around the video game world, all the news, all the happenings from the past week that I think are cool and interesting, and you definitely don't want to miss it. So listen to this music and come back after this. Welcome back to the midsection of the best show you'll ever know, Dep Lewis Show. This is where I tell you about what's going on around the video game world. We're going to start off with some good news. We've been talking about all these layoffs recently, and the closure of Game Informer in the last few weeks, and the layoffs that have been going on for the last year or whatever it may be, maybe longer than that. We have some good news, and that good news is related to Tango Gameworks, which, if you don't know about Tango Gameworks, they are the Japanese video game developer founded in 2010. They have created the Evil Within series, Ghostwire Tokyo, and most recently, the critically acclaimed Hi-Fi Rush. So let's see here. So the thing I want to tell you about was Hi-Fi Rush the Tango Gameworks was closed by Xbox June 14, 2024. And now a publisher called Krafton has swooped in and saved the day. So this deal to buy Tango was effective August 1st, 2024. With the studio closed, Krafton did a acqui-hire, so an acquisition and hired the people. An acquisition with the primary focus on getting talent, and they're saying they wanted to inherit the entire development team. Krafton is a South Korean video game publisher and holding company that develops, produces, and sells games. PUBG is one of their games. PUBG Studios under Krafton, it looks like. Then Krafton published the game, so they're into a lot of video game business. they probably have a lot of money from some of these franchises, and they have been making some acquisitions. So they have purchased Tango Gameworks. That's the news here. Krafton has purchased Tango Gameworks. And then also from their PR team from Krafton, they say Krafton plans to transfer approximately 50 development staff from Tango Gameworks to Krafton's Japan subsidiary. These transferred staff will continue to work on new projects, including the expansion of the Hi-Fi Rush IP at Krafton. So that is very good news for Hi-Fi Rush fans, and they're going to focus on the expansion of the franchise. So, I mean, if you release a game, a critically acclaimed game that people love, and you're able to expand on it on the next one, I think that's a success. And Hi-Fi Rush is a game, if you aren't familiar with that, it is a game they're telling you to feel the beat as a wannabe rock star. Chai and his ragtag team of allies who rebel against evil robotics enhancement Megacorp with raucous rhythm combat, action game where the character's world and combat style, the combat stylishly sync to the music. The initial release date of this game, Hi-Fi Rush, was January 25th, 2023, so last year. And so after the game released last year in January, they closed the studio a couple months ago, and they have been purchased a month and a half later. So it's everyone's been talking about how that deal works. They're saying they're retaining 50 people from the staff. Did the other 50 people find a job? Did some of them retire? When you get, I think all these people just got laid off. So then you're going to immediately start the job hunt. So maybe some of them found some opportunities that they were really into. Maybe some people took a lateral opportunity just to have security. But I don't know how any of that works. I don't know if Krafton was talking in the background after the acquisition to let these people know. It's that's going to be interesting to find out, if we do, about what was happening in the interim between the studio closure and Krafton buying it. And was there any discussion before announcing the closure of the studio? That part seems a little strange as well. You think Xbox would have wanted to avoid the negative press and possibly have just sold the game. They want to say they could have just sold it as if they would have waited a month and a half. They could have been like, hey, we wanted to, we didn't feel we were the right ones to hold this esteemed franchise in their hands and take it in the correct direction. We want to focus our efforts elsewhere, but we believe Krafton's going to come in and really take this franchise to the next level, and we believe that, games, blah, 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 blah. They could have really sold it and had a nice little moment for themselves, but, maybe this lends to the thought that, who knows? I really don't know how this would have worked. They could have made some calls, would have probably been the move besides just closing the studio, but who knows? It'd be a great story to be told, and if there's any more information that comes out on that, I'll definitely keep you up to date on it, because I'm looking for that information too. So the other 50 people, I guess, maybe have found jobs elsewhere. And for Hi-Fi Rush, it's $29.99 US, available on PS5 now, which is a recent event, or sort of recent. Xbox Series X and S, Xbox Cloud Gaming, and Microsoft Windows. So a feel-good story. Tango getting picked up and able to still do some of their business. They still had to go through some trauma there with their studio being closed, and half their development team has gone elsewhere now or decided to do something else. But I guess sort of a small win for the video game world right now with all the closures and the trends in the video game world. It's nice to see this happen and see someone say that they want to, what was the phrase? Because I kind of liked it. These, including the expansion of the Hi-Fi Rush IP. So, if you're a fan of the franchise, which I played some Hi-Fi Rush, it didn't immediately click with me. It definitely has a lot of charm to it and seems fun and interesting, but I just don't know if it's my cup of tea or if I didn't give it the right amount of effort to try it. But it's something I would definitely like to try again in the future, and I just think this is a cool story, so this could be a reason to get me to try it again, knowing that there's some hope for the future of the franchise. So Tango Gameworks, good for you. Good on you, Krafton, for doing something, and hopefully you handle them with care. All right. So video game news. What else we got this week? There was a game called Dragon Age the Veilguard that was called Dragon Age Dreadwolf before. It's had a unclear release date. I think they've been saying 2024, but now we have an official release date for Dragon Age the Veilguard, and that release date has been announced for Halloween, so 10/31/2024. This will be the fourth major game in the Dragon Age franchise. This is developed by BioWare. This is a sequel to Inquisition, and this game will be available for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows, so current-gen consoles and platforms. They are touting this game as an immersive single-player RPG where you become the leader others believe in. When a pair of corrupt ancient gods break free from centuries of darkness, the vibrant land of Thetis needs someone they can count on. Rise as Rook, Dragon Age's newest hero. Be who you want to be and play how you want to play as you fight back and lead your team of 7 companions, each with their own rich story. Together you will become the Veilguard. So I think that's pretty cool. I think the title, the Veilguard, that's a pretty I started to like it a little more after hearing this little byline for the game. That's the name of your companions. You're a Veilguard, and that's kind of a cool concept and something maybe to be a part of in this game. But I do have my questions about this. I think it's a little strange that the release date is going to be so soon. Even though they've had a lot of time to develop this game, I don't think we've seen too much content from it. You think they would want to show it off a little more. And the upcoming release, I mean, it's only 2 months away, I think is what it is. So I don't know. I'm going to have a little bit of apprehension about this, but I would love this to be a good game, and I'll definitely be checking for it. So I'll just say my kind of take on it be to approach it with caution. I think BioWare hasn't done some of the greatest things lately, but they have some really excellent A+ games in their catalog. But I don't know if they've been handling some of these games recently with that same type of love and care. So I think question marks are abound for this Dragon Age, the Veilguard. I think it's going to be interesting to see the first batch of reviews and what people are thinking about it, and that's kind of my take on the Dragon Age Veilguard. But I would love it to be good and something I would like to try, and that is my hope for it. So something else that I have, this next thing I want to talk about is something I definitely want to try and maybe quickly going up on games I want to purchase, and that's the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster. So this is looking really, really good. I watched a YouTube video of this. There's a YouTube video. I found it on PlayStation's YouTube channel. It's called Dead Rising Deluxe Director's Report. It's around 11 minutes long and has two devs showing off the enhancements and live gameplay. And this really did a great job in making me want to buy it. I'm bringing back some nostalgia from 2006 when this game first got released. And it's looking like it's getting a modern spin. And I just really, really like what it's doing. So this game's going to release on September 19th, 2024 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows. It'll be $49.99 US dollars, not a complete full price release. That's another good thing going on for this game. They're saying Dead Rising returns with modern graphics, more than just a remaster. This deluxe remaster is a full graphical overhaul of the first game in zombie slaughtering action game series Dead Rising. This remaster has been fully voiced, supports autosaves, and has various other quality of life features. So witness the unmatched mayhem and freedom for yourself. So the story of this game is one day the peaceful town of Willamette, Colorado found itself put under quarantine by the U.S. Army. Frank West, a freelance journalist, smells a scoop and finds his way into the only shopping mall in town. Unfortunately, the mall has turned into a living hell, crawling with countless zombies. Help will arrive in 72 hours. So it's up to him to find out the truth behind this incident before it's too late. So, yeah, like I said, this game came out in 2006 for Xbox 360. Something I never completed, but is a game that I've always really, really liked. Even on the 360, I was into this and really wanted to play it, and was something I tried and thought was cool. I don't know if I was just too scared to push along in it or whatever it may be. And then they remastered, or they had like an HD version that came out on the Xbox One release. I think I'm remembering the Xbox One release was pretty light with new releases, and this was, I think, the first game I bought for Xbox One. And I didn't complete it there. Maybe a little too scared at that point still, but I think in my current state of video game playing, I think this is something I could possibly tackle, and I do really want to try it. So the graphics in this are looking great. All the costumes for Frank are looking great. The whole concept of Frank being a journalist going into this place to get a scoop is pretty fun and great and cool, and still, you know, an interesting take and story today. I do like some zombie stuff from back in the day, so maybe this can rekindle some love for some zombie stuff for me, maybe toughen me up, and that is my thought. So I think I'm really going to put this on the roster of things I want to purchase, and I think you should too, if that sounds interesting. So Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster comes out September 19th, 2024. Okay, so let's see. We talked about some upcoming releases. So let me tell you about a game that won Game of the Year for the Dep Lewis Show, a game I still love, and a game I think I want to start playing, getting back into again, and that is Splatoon 3. And the upcoming Grand Festival is going to take place September 12th through September 15th, 2024. And they're asking, and this is like the most, I guess, hyped up overhaul, most important kind of Splatfest they've had so far. So in this one, they're going to ask you, what is most important to you, past, present, or future? And they're saying the biggest Splatfest is the Grand Festival. So this event will last for 72 hours and is celebrating the second anniversary of Splatoon 3. The other Grand Festival updates will be 3 stages, the Urchin, Seashell, and Giant Clam stages. The Grand Festival venue is based on harmony, destruction, and creation. And then if you don't know what Splatoon 3 is, it's a 4-on-4 ink slinging battle in this colorful action shooter packed with style and attitude. As a squid-like inkling, quickly cover your surroundings and opponents in ink with wild weaponry and swim through your own color to sneak and splat. Such a good game. And Game of the Year, a definitive Game of the Year for me on this Dep Lewis Show. Those 2 Game of the Years I've done so far, I've gone to Splatoon 3 and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, 2 excellent games, 2 Nintendo games. And Splatoon 3 is something that I don't think I played too much of it this year, maybe a little bit earlier on in the year, But something I want to get back into, and a little bit of this hype is catching me. I'm catching the Splatoon 3 fever, and the only prescription is more Splatoon. So I'm going to be playing some of this game in the upcoming weeks, and maybe I'll be talking about it next week on the show. Maybe it'll be back up in the top section like it was for the longest time, and I'll be giving you Splatoon 3 updates. So we will see. But that is on the docket in my mind. So Splatoon 3 Grand Festival coming up in about a month or less than a month on September 12th. So that's the next thing to know for some Splatoon 3. And I'll probably give you another reminder of that as it gets closer. But something that I'm excited for as well. All right, so what else? We have an upcoming game that a lot of people have been talking about this game lately. I guess maybe the embargo is up of some kind. And that game is called Black Myth Wukong. I just want to tell you about this game. It releases in 2 days, so if you're listening in real time. So August 20th, 2024 for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows. So we really are seeing a lot of games these days that are coming out for just current gen, and that is nice to see as a current gen owner. $59.99 USDs and single player only for this game, so no co-op adventures in here. Black Myth Wukong is an action RPG rooted in Chinese mythology and based on Journey to the West, one of the 4 great classical novels of Chinese literature. You shall set out as the destined one to venture into the challenges and marvels ahead to uncover the obscured truth beneath the veil of a glorious legend from the past. As the destined one, you shall encounter powerful foes and worthy rivals throughout your journey. Fearlessly engage them in epic battles where surrender is not an option. Aside from the mastering various staff techniques, you can also freely combine different spells, abilities, weapons, and equipment to find the winning strategy that best suits your combat style. So the things I've heard about this game is the world is very grim and dark and bleak, so don't expect too much levity or colorfulness or cheerfulness in this world. It's just very devastating and harsh. That is what the tone they are going for. And I've heard this game is very, very hard and very difficult. So I've heard it's like Shadow of the Erdtree, Elden Ring difficult. I've heard a lot of the enemies are aggro. They're not waiting for you to make your move. They're coming at you right away. And this game is I've also heard it's described as a boss rush battle. That was on what show was I listening to for that? Maybe, I'm really not sure. Might have been the Min-Max show. But I've heard it described as a boss rush battle, so a lot of boss encounters back to back to back. Even oftentimes, there are some smaller minions to farm and gain experience, but this game seems like you're generally fighting gigantic foes. So if that sounds up your alley, I think this game is not up my alley because it seems very tough and seems like it's tough to the max. But it's sounding pretty good. I think it's got an 8 out of 10 from some outlets, and that's kind of the vibe I've been getting on it. Not a 10 out of 10, not a 9, maybe in the 7 to 8 out of 10 range. Sounds super solid. If you're into Souls-likes, I think this is something maybe to scratch that itch. But Black Myth Wukong, something that's coming up in 2 days. If you're listening real time, August 20th, 2024, and something that I guess I do want to watch a video of somebody playing this. So I just don't know. I guess I really can't talk too much on what I've seen from it, but I've heard some discussions on other podcasts this week and things across the internet. So that's the update on Black Myth Wukong that releases on August 20th, 2024. All right, another great game is Vampire Survivors. They have a super secret free update that is coming to all platforms on August 29th, 2024. So it's Vampire Survivors, it's called Darkasso, I believe it's called. They're adding 1 stage, 1 relic, 5 Darkanas, and they even have a question mark after Darkana, so we don't really know what it is, and they are letting us know that we should not. It's adding 9 achievements and more, and Vampire Survivors is out now on PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and mobile. Oh yeah, okay, so this update's out right now. The news was the release date was Vampire Survivors is coming to PS5 on August 29, 2024, but I believe this update right now is out if you own the game on PC, Switch, Xbox, or mobile. So, free content getting added to a very inexpensive, high-value game is a great thing, and, Ponkel over there continues to impress. And just shout out to Vampire Survivors. I've been singing their praises for a long time, and that game is still super valid. And I think it's really nice that it's coming to PS5 at the end of this month. So check for some Vampire Survivors. All right, the last thing I want to tell you about is there has been a movie in the video game world, the Borderlands movie. So this released on August 9th, 2024. And I just wanted to report that this sounds like a stay away. So I don't think this is doing anything, even if you're a fan of Borderlands, which when Borderlands 1 came out, that was a huge release. I loved that game so much. Borderlands 2 as well. I think in between the Borderlands 2 and 3, there was a release, and I kind of fell off in between there. I think I tried that in between release, and that was kind of the end of my Borderlands journey. But Borderlands 1 and 2 are really amazing games, and just was at a point in my life where the 360 was really popping, and I was doing a whole lot of gaming during that time, which I still am. But that was kind of, looking back around those Halo 3 times, it's kind of in that era for me is a pretty great nostalgia blast for me in the video game world. But this movie's out. I haven't heard anybody say anything nice about it, so I just want to kind of warn you about that. In this movie, Borderlands movie, they're saying they're returning to her home planet Pandora. An infamous bounty hunter forms an unexpected alliance with a ragtag team of misfits. Together, they battle alien monsters and dangerous bandits to uncover one of Pandora's most explosive secrets. So, the only thing that brought up that was interesting to me was that this game from Gearbox was allegedly, originally going to be called Pandora. And I think Andy McNamara, who was I don't know what position he held, but I think he was the top dog at Game Informer for a long time. And they wanted to do a cover story for this game when it was getting released, and he told them that he really just didn't like the title. And I guess he said they weren't going to put it on the cover because of how bad or how much he disliked the title. And they came back and changed it to Borderlands. So, pat on the back there to Andy McNamara for really helping them update that. I think they made the correct choice, and they're not going with Pandora. And I think Borderlands is a pretty epic name. And it just seems like they're fumbling the bag a little bit here on the movie side, but that is to be expected with movies. I don't have too much to say. I'm not really too much of a movie buff, and not generally checking for new releases, but just wanted to bring this up. A lot of people have been talking about it. Sounds like it's not very good, so that's just kind of the report on the Borderlands movie. And then what else did I want to say? I think Borderlands, I think Gearbox was teasing something about, hey, we made something they had this huge budget and they made a big flop, and then we had our budget and made Borderlands, and I think there was an allusion to Borderlands 4 in there, so I think it could be time for me to be into Borderlands 4 if it came back through. That would definitely be something kind of like Dragon Age, where I want to see what they're doing with this franchise that I have and hold in high regard. But they've taken a long break. It's kind of hard to trust them when they come back a lot of these times. You think they're going to fumble the bag pretty much. But something I would definitely be interested in if it came back, and hopefully we'll get that announcement because that could be a pretty cool release. I don't think I've played a first-person shooter in a long time, and just something I'd definitely be checking for. But I don't think you should be checking for the Borderlands movie, and coming here to tell you that I'm not checking for it either. So that is going to end the midsection of this show, Dep Lewis Show, episode 90. That was the midsection where I tell you about all the video game news going on across the world. So I told you about Tango Gameworks being acquired by Krafton, or being picked up by Krafton. We talked about Dragon Age the Veilguard has a release date announcement for 10/31/2024. We talked about Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which comes out on September 19th. We talked about the upcoming Grand Festival for Splatoon 3, which takes place on September 12th. We talked about the upcoming release of Black Myth Wukong on August 20th, 2024. Vampire Survivors has a new free update out right now, and Vampire Survivors is coming to PS5 on August 29th, 2024. And the Borderlands movie is out right now, and it sounds like you should save your hard-earned money. So that's going to be all the updates this week for the video game world. And we're going to take one final break, and we're going to come back for the miscellaneous talk section of this show, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. And we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports as we always do, and give you an update on what's going on with my favorite teams, and that is the plan. So listen to this music, go take a quick break, and come back for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 90, after this music. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 90, the miscellaneous talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you about all my favorite teams. So my favorite NFL team, some people out there in the world might say, unfortunately, is the Carolina Panthers. Their first home preseason game took place last night, August 17th, 2024. Most of the starters didn't play again, so I don't know if it's a good indication of what's going on with the Panthers. But the Panthers did lose 15-12, so even in these preseason games, the Panthers can't seem to get a dub, even just for good morale. But on the road, I think this is going to go poorly. That's kind of my take. I've seen a little bit of Bryce Young hype on the internet, and I would love for Bryce Young to play well this season and really show some improvement. But I am just a little bit too negative on this team right now. I've been sold too many phony bill of goods recently with the Panthers, so I think the fan base really needs to be in a wait and see mode. I don't think you need to be in a hater mode, because that's never nice as a fan, but I think it's smart to have some apprehension about what's going to go on with the Panthers, and they need to show us before we kind of go out there and put our necks on the line for the team. But some of the stuff's looking pretty good. That's all I really can say. I don't have the highest hopes, but I'm definitely excited for the season to start, because I love some football. I love watching them regardless, and I'm just excited to have another sport in the rotation. So that's kind of my general thoughts on that. The Panthers open the season at New Orleans September 8th, 2024, 1 p.m. on Fox. And then their first home game in Charlotte is against the Chargers on September 15th. So hopefully I can be in the building for that game, and that's my plan. So I want to go watch some football out here. So that's my update on the Carolina Panthers. I think as far as, let me think about my favorite teams, favorite players on the team. They've been trading away my favorite players for the longest time. So Cam Newton into DJ Moore, into Brian Burns. They've all been traded or let go. And now I think I'm left with Derek Brown, J.C. Horn. I wish I could be a Bryce Young fan. And I think those are my favorite players on the team right now. They got rid of Frankie Louvu. So I think Derek Brown and J.C. are going to hold it down for me right now. And I like Xavier Legette. I'm hoping to see some things there. But I just want to see the team play better as a whole and hopefully make some noise. The Falcons have really been upgrading their team recently with some signings and things like that. So I think they're kind of trending to be the best team in the division right now. And that is just kind of my quick thought on the division. I think it's pretty much up for grabs, but if I had to bet some money, I would probably put the Bucks. I'd put all the teams above them. I think the Panthers are not going to be good this year, and that's my prediction. But I still love them. I'm still going to watch them. I'm still going to cheer for them, and I'm going to hope to be surprised. All right, that's my thought on the Panthers. All right, get into some NBA talk. The Charlotte Hornets are one of my pseudo favorite teams since I live in North Carolina, and the schedule for the NBA has been announced, so that's been cool to look at. One of the reasons I like the Charlotte Hornets are I can go to some of the games, and that is really fun. So the first game of the season for the Hornets is at Houston, so that's October 23rd, so a couple months away from the start of real-time basketball. And the first home game for the Hornets is versus Miami on 10/16/2024. So opening game versus the Heat. And then the greatest team in the NBA, the Hawks, are in Charlotte for Saturday after Thanksgiving, 11/30/2024 at 6 p.m. So I think this will be a game, 100%. This is one I'm marking on my calendar, something I'll be in the building for, and I'll be in there undercover rooting for the Hawks. All right, so the Hawks, though, so their schedule's been announced. Their first game of the season is in versus Brooklyn in Atlanta on the same day, 10/23/2024. And then the Hornets are in Atlanta 10/25/2024. So just some early action between the Hornets and the Hawks. That's always nice, or that's extra nice for me these days. And then the Hawks are going to be part of the NBA Cup. So that schedule's been announced too. That's 11/12 at Boston, 11:15 versus the Wizards at home, and Atlanta 11:22 at the Bulls, and then 11:29 versus the Cavs in Atlanta. So some cool stuff there with the NBA Cup. I think that was a pretty good success last season, and I think the teams will be looking forward to playing in that again. And hopefully the Hawks can make some noise. I'm really hoping the Hawks the Hawks are a team that they should be better than they were last year, and hopefully we're going to see that on the court this year. So that's my NBA update for you, and then my baseball update for the MLB, my favorite team in the Galaxy, or the Atlanta Braves. So what's been going on with the Braves since last week? They were playing the Rockies last weekend, and to end the week last week, they lost 8-9. They gave up 7 runs in an inning late, so that was pretty disappointing. But this week, I would say the Braves have gotten on track. So I think this has been a really successful, great week for the Braves. Hopefully they'll be able to emulate this week in the next few upcoming weeks and really make a run, try to get back in the mix here, and that will be, that's a path through. So we can see a path through at this point. That's nice. So last Monday, they were been in San Francisco to start the week last week. So the Braves won 1-0 Monday. The Braves won 4-3. It was these were some late games over the course of the week, but still able to keep up with them. Wednesday at the Giants, the Braves won 13-2. Money Mike was back, and he was out there he came back with a grand slam, causing some havoc, and he's been continuing to do so. So Money Mike being back is a great spark. And then Thursday at the Giants actually won 6-0. So the Braves flipped back on that one and took a loss. But the Braves, other than that, have been doing good. Friday they were at the Angels, and the Angels won 3-2 Friday night. But then the Braves won 11-3 Saturday night, and the Braves played the Angels again today at 4:07. So we're going to see. Hopefully the Braves get another dub today, and then next week the Braves have no game on Monday. Then the Phillies are in Atlanta Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and the Nationals are in Atlanta Friday through Sunday. So all division opponents next week, and that is what you call a great opportunity to make up some ground in the division, in the wild card, in the overall standings, and in my heart and your hearts as well for the Atlanta Braves. So let's see here. What else about the Atlanta Braves? Ronnie was in the clubhouse and hanging with the players when they were in Los Angeles playing the Angels. So that was nice to see. Always great to see Ronnie, and really miss him on the ball field. And just go Braves. I'm really pretty proud of their week. Let's see. They won 1, they won 2, they won 3, they lost 1, 3, 4. I think 4 of those 7 maybe. Pretty good week for the Braves. So hopefully they'll be continuing that in the upcoming week, and just go Braves. It's been Players Weekend in the MLB going on, so it's been fun to see all the really cool bats. Seeing the people holding a bat that looks like a pencil with the eraser at the top has been one of the highlights of my Players Weekend and watching that. So just go baseball. I love some baseball. I have to wait a couple more hours than normal today to watch some afternoon baseball, but great time for baseball any time of the day. And just thank you for listening to the Miscellaneous Talk section where I tell you about all my favorite teams. So just go sports. That's what I want to say. The other thing I want to say is just thank you for listening. I'm going to wrap up this entire show. Well, hold on one second. Yeah, I told you about all my favorite teams. The Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Braves, and that's going to wrap up the show. So I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. Find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. So places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. Those are all great. If you'd like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/DepLewisShow is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly and get some additional benefits there. And I definitely plan to grow the Patreon content out over time, just my content in general. And then also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you'd like to support the show. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a great week out there in the world. I hope you come back next week for another episode of the Dep Lewis Show, because that's where I'll be. Hope you have a great week out there video gaming. I hope you have a great week watching sports. I hope you have a great week out there in your normal life. And just thank you. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Dep Lewis Show.